Greetings folks, we're going to take a look at how to very simply record a vocal to a backing track in GarageBand. So the first thing I'm going to do is open GarageBand. I've opened it recently so I can open it from my recent items. Okay, and that's just connecting to my keyboard. Okay, so I'm going to start a new project. Okay, and so I'm going to do a choose. Okay, and at the moment I need to choose what I'm going to do. So I'm going to do select audio because I'm going to drag in an audio track and put in a vocal. Okay, so I'm not going to do software instruments or drummer if I was creating my own track. This is very simply to record a vocal to a backing track. So I'll start by creating this track, and this will be my vocal track. Now before I do anything else, what I'll do is I'll actually save this, because at the moment it's just untitled, and I'll choose where I'm going to save it. So I'm going to put it on my my hard drive here, and I'll call it like GarageBand Demo. Okay, so you probably name it the name of your song. Okay, I'll type that better. There we go. Okay, and I've created a folder and I'll call it, there we go, Garage. So I always like to put things inside folders. Okay, so there we go. I made a folder and put it inside the folder. You don't have to, but I like to keep things nice and tidy. Okay, so I've created a GarageBand track, and what we've got is one, you can see there I've got a level meter there showing me the input from my microphone. Okay, and that's called audio 1. You can actually rename tracks, so I might rename this like my voice. Oh, my voice, there we go. And okay, so that's ready to record on. And if I click on this button, okay, I can actually hear myself in my headphones. Okay, so that's useful when you're singing your tracks, that you can hear yourself back through the headphones. This little button here means it will monitor your input. Okay, so you can hear yourself back. Always recommend wearing headphones when you record the vocal track. I've done an entire video on why this is a good thing on my channel, but yes, as you can see, I've got headphones on. This is really important so you don't get a bleed, what's called a bleed from the backing track, which means you kind of get a duplicate of the backing track and everything becomes very messy. Okay, so I've got this set up, but I need my backing track now. Okay, so here, before I drag in my backing track, I just want to show you, when you create a new track in GarageBand, okay, it puts a few default kind of effects. You can see them down here. You know, if I've got this closed, I can always like open up this view and show editor there, and then I can go to my track there and click on all these things here. My voice, just click on there to bring that back up, and you can see we've got some we've got these effects that we can turn on and off. We've got reverb, we've got some kind of ambience that creates some echo, all these kind of things. And if I go into here, let's say I'll pick the natural voice there, which will give me some what are called plugins. If I open them up here, you can see I can add some echo and reverb and all this kind of thing. Okay, so may start with natural voice there. Good, I could always change these to get different effects, but natural vocal is a good place to start. Okay, now because it applies some effects, there's one kind of little caveat, one thing to watch out, and some people have done this in the past and sent me tracks and said, why does my track sound wrong? Okay, and it's about dragging the backing track in, so this is kind of important. So I can just drag a file in off my desktop, or I've got a file here in iTunes and I can drag it straight in from iTunes. I've downloaded a karaoke track from iTunes and I'm going to drag it in, not into this track, because what will happen here is all the effects that we've chosen for the voice, all these kind of natural vocal effects, the reverb, the compression, all these effects that sound great for the voice, they'll now be on the backing track. And of course we don't want any effects on the backing track, that's already been mixed, so that will kind of mess up and muddy your backing track with extra echo and all this kind of thing. So drag it into an empty space, drag it underneath this track, and GarageBand will simply create a new track. Okay, so this track if I click on here, okay, everything here is set to off because the compressor's off. All these are at 0. These are all in the middle. So although these controls are here, they're all kind of neutral. Okay, so it's not changing the backing track. Okay, so we've now, so that was what was messing up my friend's track, is that she'd put it on a track for vocals, and she said my backing track sounds weird, and that's why. So always just drag it into an empty area, and GarageBand will import that track and not put any unwanted effects on. Okay, so I've now got my voice. Okay, so if I hit the space bar, I can play this, and I've got a click track here that I can hear, which is this little metronome here. I don't actually want that, so I can turn that off here, and a little counting, so it'll count 1, 2, 3, 4 before I start. But the track's got a counting, you know, it plays a bit before you start. So I usually would turn these off with the backing track. Okay, I don't really need them. Okay, so we've just got the backing track. If I hit play, you can hear that now. Turn this on, I can hear my voice. It's got some echo on there. I can put that up a bit. Oh yeah, here we go. So that's where I want to come in. I've got all that echo on, so I'll turn that off. Okay, that's where I want to come in. So I can just come back a little. I don't have to start from the start. I can start just position where I want to start. Now, before I record, there's something very important to do. This is really important, and this is to set the level for your microphone. Okay, if your microphone is too loud, if there's too much input or gain, as they say on the microphone, it will distort. As you can see here, I've got a level, and my level's kind of hitting green to yellow. Now this volume slider, this sometimes confuses people. If I turn that up, okay, I'm basically making the track louder. Okay, so I'm just going to mute this track for a sec. Okay, and so if I turn this right down and hit record, 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2, you can see there as I'm recording it's showing me the input. Okay, when I play it back, okay, it's quiet. That slider has made no difference to the level of recording. I had it right down, but it recorded at the normal level. We'll turn that back up. 2 1 2. You can see there. Okay. So how do I set the level to make sure it doesn't distort? I've got it about the right level now. Okay, there's no distortion on this. So what you have to do on with GarageBand is I have to go into my system preferences. Okay, because I'm using a USB microphone here, this Rode microphone. If you're using a audio interface, then you've probably got a knob that you can twist to set the level of the microphone. Okay, but with USB microphones, I need to go into sound. Okay, and there's my input, and I've got this slider here. So let me take that all the way to the top. Okay, this is going to sound nasty. Okay, so you can see there that this input level, and you'll be able to hear now on the recording here, I sound bad. Okay, 1 2 1 2 1 2. Okay, so I'm going to take that back to normal, back here. Oh, there we go. Okay, so now look at that. 1 2 1 2, and hear how it's going into the red. You can see 1 2 1 2. It's going right to the top of the audio levels, and if you look at the waveform there, you can see how it's cutting off at the top and the bottom, unlike this one, which has got space. I can take this, make this louder and put effects on this, and it won't clip or distort, as they say. The tops and bottom of this waveform here, you can see they've been clipped. They've been clipped off because the microphone has been too loud. Okay, so a lot of times people make the mistake of not setting the microphone level right. It's too loud and it creates this awful distortion, and there's no way I can fix that because it's gone beyond the range of the microphone. If it's a little bit too quiet, I can turn it up. If it's too loud, then bye-bye nice audio, okay? So it's really important to make sure, go into my system preferences, sound, okay, and set this level. And you may find that for singing, you may want to go and take this down a little bit, because you tend to sing a little louder than you would normally talk. Okay, so if you've been using Zoom or something like this, just chatting away, you may have it set to a higher level, but of course you're going to get a bit louder when you're singing. So give yourself some space to get louder. It's much better to give yourself a little bit of headroom in that mix so you can sing away and not be afraid of distorting. Okay, so that's really important to get your nice sound, your vocals sounding as clean as possible. Okay. So I'll delete that. I can just click and hit backspace and put this track on. Okay, so I've set my vocal level. So so this slider only controls the amount coming out in the mix when you've finished recording. So this is so think of this as in, okay, the sound coming in, and this is the sound coming out. Okay, so you want the sound to come in as you're recording it to be not distorted. So it's very important, that stage, just to set that. And once you've set that, that's set until you go in and changes. You don't have to do that every time. If you leave it set like that, it'll still be like that the next time you do a recording. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to hit the monitor button when I start, and I'm going to record, take a few bars intro. Here we go. Why do you whisper green grass? Why you tell the trees what ain't so? Whispering grass, the trees don't need to know. Alright, so as you can see, no clipping there. Turn that off, no distortion. Alright. Why do you whisper green grass? And now I can add, I can play about with the sound of this. I can change the amount of echo and reverb, and I can put it up here as well. Why you tell the trees what ain't so? Whispering grass, the trees don't need to know. So I put lots on there so you can hear it. Okay. Why do you whisper green grass? Okay, so I put a little extra on to make it really obvious. I wouldn't normally put that much echo and reverb on, but just to give you an idea of how you can now play about with the settings. You can, and get your vocal mix. You can use these sliders. Okay. To balance, to get the level, so if you want your vocals a bit louder and your track a bit quieter. Why do you whisper? Or vice versa. Okay, you can now play about with these, and when you're done, when you've recorded the whole thing, and of course you can always come back. You don't have to do the whole, if you want to record a chunk again, I can I can come and record a little bit extra. Pick apart and start somewhere in the middle of the song, or record bits here and there. So I don't have to start and do the whole song. I can just select by moving my cursor here, my playhead, where I want to begin, hit the record button, and off you go. Okay, so that's just some basics of how to set your microphone level. That's very important. How to bring in a track. Don't put it on a vocal track. You'll get all these effects on your backing track. Just drag it to an empty space, and you can just turn on this to hear yourself as you sing. That's your monitor button, and there's record. Okay, and then when you're done, you can just hit the share button, and we'll set. This is what you want to do: export song to disk. So you make a version of it. Now, if you're going to kind of use this in a video, or kind of in a group thing, and what you want to do is I'd save it as either an AIFF or a WAV file. Okay, the reason is this is, as you can see here, uncompressed. I'm going to save it as the best quality file. If I save it as MP3, okay, I can save it as high quality. Don't want to save low quality, that'd be terrible. But I'm reducing the file size by taking out information from the song, so it's not as good quality. And you probably won't notice this too much, you know, if you're listening to it on your iPhone, on headphones and stuff like this. But it's like a photocopier. If I then take that file and put it in a video editing program and make some video and then export it again, you know, like you do a photocopy, you photocopy one and then you photocopy the photocopy, you photocopy the photocopy, every time it gets a little bit lower in quality until it's just a blank sheet of paper. Okay, so you're always better, especially if you're going to do the, you know, use this track in a video or something, you know, it will be a bigger file, but it will be a better file. So if you're gonna, so you know, if you just finished and you want to put it on your iPhone or email it or something like that, or upload it to the internet, then yeah, MP3 or AAC is fine, okay, for your finished file. But if you, especially if you're going to do more things with this, then save it as a bigger file, which will be a higher quality. And then when you come to re-export that in your video, for example, you're not losing quality, you know, each time you make a new export of it. So yeah. So that's your options. These two are uncompressed, okay, so you'll get a full file without compression. These two will add compression, so you will lose some information from the file. So it's better to work with these, especially if you're going to do some further editing with it. Okay, then you just choose where you're going to save it, you know, for your desktop, for example, hit export, okay, and it's going to make what's called bounce down your tracks into a stereo file. So you can have 10 tracks, okay, and they'll get bounced down to one stereo file that you can play or edit in another program. Okay, so that's just a little run through of some of the basics of recording a vocal to a backing track in GarageBand. So I hope that's been helpful. Thank you.